Many years ago, in the enchanting world of fairies, lived a beautiful blue-eyed fairy named Sonam. She often used to travel down to Earth with Mitra, her fairy friend. One morning, she went to meet Mitra.
Mitra, it's been a while since we went down to Earth. Let's go on an excursion today.
Okay, let's go today. I'm up for it. I love seeing the wonderful sights on Earth.
The two fairies fly off together toward Earth. The view from the top is breathtaking. Flying amongst the clouds, they find themselves amazed by the beautiful sights they see.
Mitra, look at that rainbow. It's such a magical thing to witness. And look at that stream. It must be so refreshing to take a bath in it.
Bathing can come later. I badly want to drink its sweet water first. Let's go.
Just as the two fairies finish drinking water from the stream and turn around, they spot a horse there. The horse is drinking water from the stream as well. A handsome prince walks up to them.
Both of you lovely fairies are our guests here on Earth. Today I seem to have ventured way too far out on my hunt. I am hungry and thirsty as well. When I saw this stream, I decided to quench my thirst and that of my horse Moti as well. My name is Siddharth. May I have the good fortune of knowing your names?
My name is Sonam, and this is my dear friend Mitra.
It's really nice to meet you. I'm meeting real fairies for the first time ever.
The prince kept admiring Sonam from a distance. Sonam, too, kept shyly glancing at him with covert eyes.
Let's eat something now.
What will we find in this dense forest? I would like to invite both of you to my palace. I can make sure we enjoy a full feast there.
There's no point traveling so far just for a meal.
Sonam lifts her hand up and points her star magic wand nearby. A whole table full of a delicious variety of food appears. She ensures that the prince's horse has food to eat as well. Watching this happen, the prince is awestruck. The three of them sit together and enjoy their meal.
You were right. A meal at the palace could never match up to this experience. Please accept an invitation to visit the palace as my guests.
Dear Prince, thank you very much for the invitation. But very soon the sun is about to set. We don't want to stay on Earth after sunset, but we will definitely come one day.
I will eagerly await that day.
The two fairies fly away toward the sky. The prince watches them till they are out of sight. An evil sorceress named Sina watches the prince from a distance. She is besotted by his good looks. She appears in front of the prince in the form of a pretty maiden.
Dear Prince, my name is Sina. What are you doing here alone in this forest? Come with me, I can give you a tour of heaven.
I'm already getting late. I need to get back to my palace.
I really like you a lot. If you choose me, I will fill your life with lots of happiness. I will always pamper you.
Excuse me, please. I really need to leave.
After saying this, the prince jumps on his horse and gallops away as fast as he can. The sorceress is upset at not getting her way.
Dear Prince, you have no idea what I am capable of. But I will make you mine one day.
Many days pass, and the prince keeps waiting for Sonam, the fairy. But she does not turn up. The prince goes back to the same stream where he first met her. He sees Sonam there, but in the form of a beautiful princess. The prince carefully observes her.
I know, dear Prince, that you have been waiting for me.
But Sonam, where are your wings?
I have come in the form of a princess.
How is it that your eyes are not blue?
Do you prefer blue eyes?
Yes, I really like blue eyes, but only if they belong to Sonam, the fairy.
What do you mean?
You are not my Sonam. You are Sina, the sorceress.
You must marry me.
Not in a million years.
Sina, the sorceress, realizes that the prince does not like her at all. She is enraged.
Get lost. Turn into a unicorn right now. Keep roaming around aimlessly.
The prince turns into a unicorn, and the sorceress leaves him there. Sonam, the fairy, lands there from the sky. The unicorn rushes towards her and licks her hand. She pats him in return.
How did you recognize me?
From the eyes of my soul, I know you really love me a lot. Who turned you into a unicorn?
An evil sorceress named Sina. When I refused to be hers, she turned me into a unicorn.
My dear prince, I will ask the fairy queen to turn you back into your original form. I'll go right now.
Sonam flew up into the sky and went to meet the fairy queen. They collected a magic pearl, and they both came back to the unicorn. The fairy queen, with the help of the pearl, transformed the unicorn back into the prince. Sonam and the prince were very happy to see each other. The sorceress came back again.
My. Just because you are a prince again, don't believe that you are saved. I will ruin you to such an extent that you will never ever look at your Sonam again. Become blind right now.
The prince lost his vision and he became blind.
I can't see a thing.
Don't worry, my prince. I can lend you my eyesight for the rest of our lives.
No, Sonam. Don't even say that. It doesn't matter if I am blind. I can see the world through your eyes.
The fairy queen appears again. With her magic, she traps the sorceress in a cage, destroying all her magic.
Sorceress, love can never be stolen from another. Love is akin to selflessness and sacrifice. Sonam and the prince, you two are made for each other. You truly love each other, and true love can never be defeated. See, prince, your vision will now return. You two can spend the rest of your lives content in each other's company. My blessings are with you.
Prince Siddharth and Sonam, the blue-eyed fairy, get married, and they lived happily ever after. King Francis, who ruled over his kingdom, lived with his wife Elena and his son Prince Harry. Prince Harry considered himself to be the most handsome, strongest, and most intelligent prince in the world. He would keep glancing at his reflection in a beautiful mirror and admire himself endlessly. He was also hot-tempered, vain, and rude without realizing it. The staff at the palace was terrified of his outbursts. They would try to avoid him if they saw him around.
Who's placed this flower vase here? Blurt it out, unless you want to regret it later. I'll fire the whole lot of you.
Forgive me, Your Highness. It was me. I placed it there by mistake when I was cleaning the room. I will keep it back in its original place.
You have become so old, yet it seems to me you still lack common sense. I will not tolerate such carelessness in the future. Every single item must be kept in its place. I have been observing how lazy you people have become. Keep in mind, I'm not the sorts to give second chances.
The members of the staff bowed their heads down and did not utter a word. One day, a renowned magician named Gogo approached Prince Harry's court. He had a request.
Hail, Prince Harry. I am Gogo the magician. If I have your permission, I would like to perform some magic tricks for you.
All right, go ahead and show me your magic.
Gogo performed some extraordinary magic tricks. He transformed a guard into a beautiful girl. Everyone laughed at this feat. He made horns grow out of another guard's head. Everyone at the court was amazed. He transformed a parrot kept in a cage into a nightingale. After some time, he turned them back into their original form. While all this was going on, a saint appeared in front of the prince.
Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.
The prince completely ignored the saint. He was more interested in challenging the magician.
Can you turn day into night?
No, my prince. I cannot meddle with the laws created by God himself.
Can you create a man who is more handsome, more intelligent, and stronger than me?
Of course, I can do that. Should I present him in front of you? Someone more dashing and stronger than you?
Not at all. I would not be able to tolerate that. There is no one more handsome, strong, or intelligent than me. Get out of my sight immediately.
The magician was hurt and felt badly insulted by the prince's rude words. The prince had disrespected the saint as well.
Mr. Magician, it is pointless to continue in a place where you are not respected. The prince is consumed by arrogance and has insulted both of us today. Come on, let's go from here.
Yes, please leave. Were you invited here in the first place?
The saint got furious on hearing this. In a fit of rage, he cursed the prince.
These look that you are so proud of, this so-called intelligence and strength that you boast of, all of this will be taken away from you. You will be trapped in a mirror that will be far prettier than you.
As soon as the saint uttered these words, the prince was trapped inside a beautiful mirror. All his looks, intelligence, and strength disappeared from sight. The prince was highly regretful.
Oh, wise one, please forgive me. I was so full of myself that I have made a terrible mistake. I beg of you, please take your curse back.
On behalf of the prince, we all request you, please forgive our prince for his blunder. Please take this harsh punishment back.
By now, the saint had calmed down.
Look, I can't take the curse back, but I can make some amends. If in the future, a good-hearted woman who doesn't know about the curse will fall in love with him in the mirror, he will return to his original form. Till that day, he will continue being trapped in the mirror.
The saint and the magician went away. The vain prince lay trapped in the mirror. The minister carefully kept the mirror in a safe spot. Even though he was trapped in the mirror, the prince was not visible to most people. The king was saddened by this turn of events and missed his son tremendously.
My dear prince, I'm sure you are feeling miserable and trapped in this mirror. You can't even express your emotions.
The king displayed the mirror for many princesses to see. But they all looked away in disappointment. Not only the king and queen, but all the courtiers too were heartbroken with what had transpired with the prince. They could not figure out a way to release the prince from the mirror. One day, King Francis visited his dear friend, King Albert. He took his beloved mirror with him. He stayed at King Albert's palace as a guest. He had placed the mirror in a safe place. When King Albert's maid Sarita was cleaning the room, she spotted the mirror and started cleaning it. There was a special light emitting from the mirror. She informed Princess Margaret about the beautiful mirror. Princess Margaret was good-hearted, kind, and generous. There was not an ounce of arrogance in her heart. She used to treat everyone with respect.
Sarita, this beautiful mirror certainly has a unique quality to it. It has a special glow coming from it. You did the right thing by bringing it to me. I will request King Francis to gift it to me.
As soon as Sarita turned to leave, her hand brushed against an expensive vase. The vase fell down and broke into pieces. The maid was scared of her mistake.
Princess Margaret, please forgive me. I have broken the vase by accident.
Sarita, it's perfectly fine. We will get a new vase. I hope you are not hurt.
No, Princess, I'm not hurt. You are very good-hearted.
The prince was watching all this unfold from inside the mirror. His heart melted on watching the princess display such a forgiving, fair, and kind attitude toward others. He felt transformed, and at that point, he was ashamed of his past behavior. A bright light emitted from the mirror. Because Margaret was a pure soul, she could see and hear the prince in the mirror.
Hello, Princess Margaret. You really possess a good, kind, and joyful heart. I wish I could be like you. The man who you choose as your life partner will certainly be a lucky man.
Dear Prince, I am sure you possess these qualities as well. You can win over many hearts with the power of your mind and your genuine emotions.
Dear Princess, can I win over your heart?
Yes, you can. I can sense the transformation going on in your heart.
Will you please accept me as your life partner?
Of course I accept.
Margaret was impressed by Prince Harry's words. She immediately took a liking to him.
Dear Princess, you have released me from this mirror and a terrible curse as well.
Prince Harry learned the greatest lesson in his life, and all his vanity dissolved away. He transformed into a forgiving, generous, and capable prince. Prince Harry and Princess Margaret got married, and they lived happy, content lives.
The Magician and the Violin. In a land far away, there lived an evil magician and his talking parrot. He had an ambition to rule over the entire world. He would visit different kingdoms to control them. For that, he would set up base in the forests that lay between the kingdoms. One such dark night, the magician was busy, conjuring up spells for increasing his power.
Done. Now it's time for this kingdom to be mine. I should go outside and bury the magical seed in the ground.
Master, I understand you're doing magic, but why do you bury seeds in every kingdom?
You wouldn't understand, my little bird. I do it so that people in this kingdom stay under my control, even when I'm not around.
You mean to say all your magic is trapped in seeds?
After the magician and the parrot have buried the seed, they start walking back to their hut. That's when they hear the melodious sound of a violin playing. The magician looks around to spot the source of the music.
Hey, parrot, where's this sweet music coming from? Go and find out.
Yes, master.
The parrot flies off to trace the source of the music. Soon, he returns to his master with information.
Master, the melodious sound of the violin is coming from a beautiful girl who seems to be crying.
Let's go find out the mystery behind this crying and music.
The evil magician first transforms himself into a handsome prince and then makes his way to the girl.
It's the middle of the night. Why are you sitting here alone, crying in this dense forest?
I'm not alone. I have my violin for company. After my parents died, my brothers have tried to marry me off to a rich drunkard in exchange for money. That's why I'm here, sitting in the forest.
I see. What is your name? I can sort this out for you very easily. I am a magician. Would you like to marry me?
My name is Saloni. Why wouldn't I marry you? You look like a handsome prince, and you seem to care for me. I will definitely marry you.
But on one condition, you have to play your violin while I perform my magic.
Why not? I could play the violin for my life partner till eternity. The parrot is ecstatic on hearing all this.
Who's getting married? Rock, my master's getting married!
The magician and the girl get married. Days pass by, and the girl secretly observes her husband performing dark magic. She becomes aware that he has evil intentions. She tries convincing him not to use magic for any malevolent purposes. I saw you performing dark magic yesterday. What will you achieve out of controlling people's minds?
I will do what I think is right. Next time you interfere in my magic, I'll trap your soul as well.
The parrot tries to diffuse the situation.
Calm down, master. If your wife gets upset, she might stop playing the violin. Your magic will fail without her music. Rock?
I wish to be the most powerful man in the world, but that's only possible when you play your violin. When I get captivated by the melodies, I'm able to perform my magic.
I refuse to do that. When she refuses to play the violin, the magician pulls out the necklace from her neck. He then magically traps her life force into the necklace. He goes to a cliff and throws the necklace into a gorge.
I have thrown the necklace that contains your soul into a gorge. The day you or someone else can manage to find that necklace, you will be released from my control. That will be the day I will stop performing dark magic for good.
How can you do this to your own wife?
Now, my dear, you will do as I say. Start playing your violin. Your each and every breath is now controlled by me.
Dear God, why did you throw me from the frying pan into the fire? Is there not a genuine person in the world who can really help me? She breaks down into tears. One day, while she is playing the violin, she notices a bag there. She goes closer to inspect. She finds unusual-looking seeds in it. When she touches one, the seeds start talking.
Thank you so much for touching me. I had been bounded by the magician. Your touch has released me from his control.
How does that work?
The magician had trapped my soul. He threatened to destroy me if I refused to follow his commands. I had no free will till you released me. Please let me know if you ever require any assistance from me.
Saloni starts contemplating after hearing the seed. My soul is trapped in a necklace lying somewhere in the gorge. I'll throw you into the gorge where you can transform into a tall tree. My necklace will get entangled in your branches, and that way I can get it out.
Yes, of course, I will do exactly as you say. Just be patient till that day arrives.
The next day, the magician and the parrot travel to another kingdom. The magician is deep in thought.
Rock, a penny for your thoughts?
I'm thinking, could Saloni be cooking up a plan behind my back?
Remember, you are a magician. I'm sure you have a way of finding out. Rock?
Not really. I'm now dependent on Saloni's violin to do any foretelling.
After saying this, the magician gets busy with his work. On the other side, the seed grows rapidly to turn into an enormous tree. The branches reach out towards the edge of the gorge. Saloni's necklace is dangling from one of the branches. Saloni picks up the necklace and thanks the seed. Thank you so much. I will now be released from the control of my husband, and so will all of you.
Please hurry up. Before he returns, burn all the seeds in the bag. That way he will lose control over everyone he has ever entrapped.
Saloni runs and reaches the bag containing the seeds. Let me burn them right now. The magician returns home and rushes to stop the seeds from burning in the fire.
No!
But it is too late. The seeds are already burnt before the magician can do anything. He loses all his magical powers. Saloni is now freed from his control.
How could you do this? I've lost all my magical powers. Now what am I going to do?
Saloni comforts him and makes him realize that the world still has plenty plenty to offer. She explains how they can still lead a normal and happy life together. The magician changes for good, and the two continue living regular yet satisfying lives. The end. Alexa's imprisoned life. A long, long time ago, the King and Queen of England had a son named Kevin. They wanted him to marry a princess and started making their inquiries, but fate had something else in store for him. One day, the king and the queen decide to have a talk with Kevin. Why are you not agreeing to any of the princesses we suggested to you? You keep refusing without giving any specific reason.
Mother, I will not be saying yes till I feel someone is right for me.
Yes, why not? Keep holding on till I die. You'll find the right princess only after I die.
You know that's not true, Father. I just haven't met the one I want to spend the rest of my life with. When I do find her, I will most definitely get married.
One day, Prince Kevin and his guards pass by the nearby village on their way to a hunting expedition. He happens to notice a poor girl named Alexa with her parents. Alexa was carrying her unwell parents in 2 baskets, supported by a stick on her shoulders. She was taking them to the village doctor. Kevin observes her for a while. The next day, in a court assembly attended by everyone, a minister walks in.
Minister, please find out more about this girl. I have decided I'm going to marry her.
Long live the king and queen and our beloved prince. We have already found out. The girl's name is Alexa, and she is the only child of very poor parents. The parents haven't been keeping well at all. What you saw was Alexa taking her parents to the local doctor.
Thank you for that information, Minister. Mother, Father, I want to marry Alexa and no one else.
Are you even in your senses, Prince Kevin?
She can never match up to you. You are a prince, and she is a mere pauper. Father, if I do ever get married, it will only be to her.
Please stop arguing with each other. King, he is our only son and heir. Let him fulfill his heart's desire. The following day, the Queen and Prince Kevin arrive at Alexa's house with a proposal for marriage. They present their proposal to the family. Alexa's parents are shocked and reluctant because of the huge class divide between them, but they finally agree.
If I do agree to this marriage, who will look after my parents once I'm gone?
Alexa, please don't worry. It will become my responsibility to look after their well-being. They will never undergo any sort of suffering, even after we are married.
The Queen holds her hands and asks Alexa's parents, "Is it safe to assume that you accept this proposal?" Alexa's parents fold their hands as well and bow their heads. "We couldn't have asked for better. Our daughter is incredibly lucky. Everything will happen as you desire." Prince Kevin and Alexa have a royal wedding. The royal midwife is one of the guests. On seeing Alexa, she makes a prediction.
Long live the king and queen. It breaks my heart to say this, but I have to. Alexa will be the reason behind Prince Kevin's death.
On hearing this, the Queen starts sobbing and says, "Oh, what are you saying? Please take your ominous words back. Please say this isn't true."
Now, do you see how great the prince's choice is? He has invited his death to the palace and now married her.
I don't believe in all this mumbo-jumbo. Mother, I have made a vow to Alexa, till death do us part.
Please don't be reckless, my prince. My predictions have never failed to come true. Please be careful.
After a long, tedious argument, Kevin agrees to keep Alexa imprisoned in a cottage situated in a corner of the royal grounds. He believes this way he can always keep an eye on her. Then one day, "Help! Help! Somebody save me from this snake!" Kevin hears her cries and rushes out of the palace to save her.
My dear lord, am I so bound by my promise that I can't even protect my own wife from harm?
Alexa looks at the snake and trembles in fear.
Don't be scared. I will not harm you in any way. I just need a little bit of space in your cottage. Trust me, I will not cause you any harm.
All right. If that's the case, you can stay here. I've been living alone for quite a while anyway.
Alexa and the snake start living together in harmony. Alexa tends to the snake every day and provides it with food. One day, On the occasion of the Snake Festival, Alexa prays to the snake, asking for her husband's long and healthy life in return.
Alexa, you are so naive. You are praying for the husband who does not even care about you.
No, that's not true at all. If he didn't care, he would not keep me so close to him. Just bless me, please, so I may always have him as my husband.
Days passed, till one day an epidemic broke out in the kingdom. The whole kingdom came down with the illness, including the king, queen, and Kevin. Alexa was thankfully spared. When she comes to know about them being bedridden, she is filled with sadness.
I need to go to the palace to tend to my family.
Alexa, have you forgotten about the promise?
I remember the promise, but I cannot forget where my duty lies. They need me today. There is no staff to take care of them at the palace. I have faith in my God. He will never make me lose face.
Not fearing the consequences of the epidemic, Alexa goes to the palace and starts nursing the king, queen, and Kevin back to health. They recover, and the king and queen are remorseful over their past behavior. They discuss things amongst themselves.
We committed a sin by not recognizing her true selfless nature.
Both the king and queen realize their folly. They seek her forgiveness.
Forgive us, child. We were blinded by the love we had for our son. No, Mother. Let bygones be bygones. There is no need for you to apologize.
The snake approaches them, and in front of their eyes grows many times in size. Everyone looks at it in fear. The snake speaks.
Now do you see? Look at her response to your degrading her. If not for her, none of you would have escaped death. There's still time to turn over a new leaf.
After saying thus, the snake disappears. So, what is the moral of this story? That fate can be overturned by the good deeds we perform. The end. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe our channel and press the bell icon to get future updates. And don't forget to comment.
A long time ago, a king named Bhima ruled over his kingdom. He was sincere and proactive. If there was ever any problem, he would try to resolve it quickly. However, his queen was sad because they had no children of their own. The king was aware of her quiet melancholy. Soon enough, word got around, and people in the kingdom started gossiping about the couple's unhappiness over not being parents yet. The king would never share his sadness with anyone, nor would he let it take over his professional duties. One day, a hermit approached the king and said, "My king, I have traveled a long way to meet you. I have wandered around in each and every village in your kingdom. You have managed to keep everyone happy, except yourself. I have come here to give you a basket. This is no ordinary basket. Anything you place in it will become double in quantity." The king went and repeated everything to the queen.
Are you sure this is for real? Will it really make things double in number?
That's what the hermit said. To be honest, I'm finding it difficult to believe that myself. Is this really a magical basket? The queen removed one of her bangles and placed it inside the basket. It turned into 2 identical bangles. The king and queen were thrilled. This meant that there would never be any deficit in their kingdom. They would always rule in a state of abundance. But yet, the king and queen were not completely content with their lives. they still yearned for an offspring. After a few days, the gatekeeper approached the king and said, "My king, a man named Bola is requesting for permission to see you. He is accompanied by his wife, Suleika, and a newborn baby." The king approved his entry. Bola folded his hands to display his respect for the king and said, "My king, we know you long for a child. We would like you to take our child. Please consider yourselves to be his parents from now on." Before the king could respond, the queen rushed to take the child from Suleika's arms and embraced it. She started thanking the couple profusely. The king watched all this silently. He was busy observing Bola and Suleika. Their faces looked composed, but he could sense an underlying pain in their eyes. "My queen, please return the child back to its parents. We will manage to stay childless, but it is not fair to separate a child from his parents." On hearing this, Bola and his wife folded their hands and started pleading with the king. Suleika said,
Please, accept this child as your own. I beg of you.
The king and queen were shocked to see a mother so desperate to give away her own child. "Why do you want us to take your child? Nowhere in the world will a mother give away her child, not at any cost. And here you are, calmly volunteering to do so. Tell me the real reason." Bola explained. "Here is the reason. We have been cursed. If we don't give away our baby to a childless couple in 12 days, by the 13th day, our baby will cease to live. My king, today counts as the 12th day since he was born. Please do us a favor and accept this child as your own. We don't want him to die." You go ahead and rest for a while. We will let you know our decision soon." The king walks to a secluded spot in the garden. The queen follows, baby in hand. She observes the king and finds him to be in distress.
How can you not be happy for this day? The Lord has finally blessed us with a child. This couple is willingly giving us their child. We never asked them to. Instead of being ecstatic, you are unnecessarily getting worried.
My very own people will part with their own child and spend the rest of their lives in misery missing him. How can I possibly be happy when someone else is in pain? The queen started contemplating about this. Then she spoke.
My king, why don't we place this child in the magical basket? That way, we will have 2 children instead of 1. We will keep this child to save him, and the other one can be raised by Bola and Suleika.
As soon as he heard this, his face lit up with a glow of happiness. I never even thought of this. Come, my queen, let us take this child back inside. The basket is in the palace. You can place him in it. We will have 2 babies instead of 1. The king and queen rushed back inside to where the basket was kept. The queen placed the child in the basket. Now there were 2 babies instead of 1 in the basket. The king picked up the second child, and the queen picked up the original baby. They went back to Bola and his wife. The king spoke. Here, you can take your child back. Bola and his wife looked at the king in disappointment. The king explained how the magical basket worked in solving their problem. He then said, "You can keep this child. The one who is cursed is the one the queen is holding. This child is now safe. You can take him with you, okay?" Bola and his wife finally understood the situation. You are a great man, my king. You did not consider your own happiness on gaining a child. Rather, you were more concerned about our unhappiness on losing a child. We are the fortunate ones to live under the shelter of your gracious hand.
You adopted our child to release him from the curse, but you also ensured that we did not lose our child. Our noble king and queen, we can only repay you with our undying respect.
Pola and Suleika took the child and went back home, thankful and relieved. The king and queen were equally thankful on finally being blessed with a child. The child grew up to be a brave and good-natured prince. They all lived together to have a long and happy life. The end.
Swan Lake. This story begins a long time ago, when Princess Elizabeth was meeting suitors to find a groom for marriage. Princes from all over the world assembled there to meet and impress her. King Eric was one of the suitors. He wasn't exactly good-looking. Princess Elizabeth goes around the room chatting with her suitors and forming her opinions. When she reaches Eric, she looks at him and makes a face to express her disappointment. Eric is hurt and offended. He feels insulted and in a fit of rage curses her.
Princess Elizabeth, are you so proud of your beauty that you actually made a face at me because I don't meet your standards? I curse you. From now on, you won't stay a princess anymore. You will be transformed into a swan.
Elizabeth and her father are very worried after hearing these words. They ask for Eric's forgiveness. Prince Eric, I have erred. Please grant me mercy for my mistake.
Prince, please forgive her. She is very young and immature. That's why the insolence. I urge you, please take back your words. My daughter's life will be ruined.
Prince Eric begins to calm down.
Forgive me, King. Unfortunately, I cannot take the curse back, but I can provide you with the solution to release her from the curse. If a man falls in love with your daughter while she is still in the form of a swan, the curse can be broken. Another thing, it's very important that the man who falls in love with her must be completely unaware of the curse. Otherwise, it won't work.
As soon as he completes his sentence, Princess Elizabeth transforms into a swan. She is then transported to a lake on the outskirts of the kingdom. Many years pass, and the princess keeps waiting for someone to love her in this form. People come to the lake, but they leave after admiring the scenery and the swan. So many years have passed. I'm beginning to lose hope that I could ever be released from this curse. Maybe I deserve living like this for the rest of my life. Maybe this is my repentance. That evening, a young traveler named James comes to sit by the lake.
It was so noisy back in the town. Here, everything is so quiet and tranquil. I wish I could live here forever.
James was a middle-class man without a family. He felt at peace sitting next to the lake. He rests there for a while. Then he hears a voice.
How are you doing?
Is the voice coming from the middle of the lake? Maybe my ears are ringing.
No, your ears are fine. Look at the lake. It's me, a swan.
Is that so? I didn't know swans could talk. How is this possible?
It is possible. I can talk, and I live right here at the lake. This is my lake. I heard you say you feel at peace here. You can come here whenever your heart desires.
Thank you for allowing me to. I have experienced bliss here. I really don't feel like leaving.
My name is Elizabeth. What's yours?
My name is James. Your name sounds like that of a princess.
My father chose that name for me. And yes, he did treat me like a princess. Come with me. I'll give you a tour of the lake and show you all the pretty flowers.
Elizabeth shows James around. She brings flowers to him, including a lotus.
Wow, Elizabeth. I've never seen a prettier sight. I loved talking to and spending time with you.
Same here, James. Please do come again. I get lonely here as well. I'm the only swan here. I will eagerly await your return.
I know how it feels to live alone. I'll come again tomorrow.
A new ray of hope lights up the swan's heart. She looks forward to meeting him again. His polite nature and kind words impress her. The next day, James comes back at the same time. She is thrilled to see him again.
James, I've been waiting for you. You're just on time. The sun is about to set soon, and it's a beautiful sight from the lake.
I've been looking forward to coming back here. I came as soon as I finished my work. You're right. It is a beautiful sight.
They watch the sunset together. James seems very happy.
Elizabeth, you are right. This is an unforgettable sight. I'll come here every day to watch it with you.
Yes, James, it is unforgettable. But such beauty is rarely enjoyed when one is alone.
I can relate to your sadness, Elizabeth, but please don't consider yourself alone. I'm here with you. I will be there for you no matter what.
On hearing James say these words, Elizabeth sheds tears of joy. She finally understands what it feels to be loved. Elizabeth had grown very fond of James. She also realized that a kind heart is more precious than beauty, wealth, or status. What mattered most was a good and sincere nature. James had also grown fond of Elizabeth, but he would question himself incessantly. Would a swan understand and accept his love? One day, James doesn't turn up at the lake. Elizabeth grows anxious and keeps worrying about his well-being. She is unable to sleep at night.
Why didn't James come today? Could he be in trouble? Dear Lord, please keep him safe.
The next day, James comes to the lake in the afternoon, much earlier than usual. On seeing him there, Elizabeth says,
James, where were you yesterday? You never informed me you were not going to be coming. I was so worried about you. Is everything okay? In the future, don't disappear like that without telling me, please. Do you have any idea how worried I was?
Oh no, please forgive me, Elizabeth. I had to travel for work. I have just returned in the morning, I promise. I won't go anywhere without telling you first. This won't happen again. My intention was not to get you worried.
James was secretly thrilled that Elizabeth was so worried about him. Apart from his mother, no one had really cared for him like that. The respect and love he had felt for her before grew larger. He made up his mind to confess his feelings to her. He would deal with the repercussions later.
Elizabeth, I have something to say.
Tell me, James. What is it?
I've fallen in love with you. My heart says it always wants to stay next to you. When I wake up in the morning, I look forward to the moment I can come here and be with you.
As soon as James utters these words, the swan gets transformed back into the beautiful princess. James is astounded, and he asks her,
Elizabeth, how did you turn into a human? Are you a real princess?
Yes, my dear James. Some years ago, I had insulted a prince over his looks, and he had cursed me. I was to live the life of a swan till someone truly loved me, regardless of my form. I had come to terms with the fact that I would die a swan. But your true love has now released me from the curse.
If you are really a princess, how will you spend your life with an ordinary man like me?
Only you have taught me the real meaning of love. No king or prince could compare to an ordinary man who is capable of loving a swan. A man's real wealth is his nature, not his status. And I have never met anyone as wealthy as you. I want to marry you, James. I want to make you my life partner. Will you marry me?
Yes, Elizabeth. I love you too. I can't even imagine a life without you.
James and Elizabeth get married. James becomes the heir to the throne as well. They live a happy and peaceful life together. The end. The Golden Bread. Once upon a time, in a tiny village, there lived a woman named Mary, with her only daughter, Rossi. Mary was extremely humble and sweet. Rossi, however, was completely the opposite. She was beautiful beyond words. She loved herself a lot. Rossi, would you help me plant the seeds? Why would I do that? What if my fingers get dirty? What if it got onto my face? Well, that was the problem with Rossi. She had many marriage proposals, but she rejected them all. Why did you send those men away yesterday? You can't be serious, Mom. One of them had such small eyes, almost like a bird, and the other had a huge nose. I wouldn't want to be near him when he sneezed. Oh, and the last? Stop. No, my dear, you must know that beauty isn't everything. Mother, I deserve someone like a prince or a knight. One night, when she was sleeping, her mother was watching her. At that moment, Rossi smiled in her sleep. Her mother was extremely surprised. How nice. She must be having a really funny dream. The next morning, Rossi woke up with all smiles and giggles. Dear, tell me, what did you dream of last night? Well, Mom, do you know, there was this prince who wanted to marry me. He had to come in a golden carriage, and he was dressed gold from top to bottom. What a silly dream. It was a very strange dream. Mom, and there was bread made of gold! The mother was worried about her daughter. One day, two of her friends, Belly and John, came to visit Mary. They had a secret. They were magical beings. Mary knew nothing about it. Oh, John! Oh, Belly! It's been a very long time since I saw you both.
How are you?
I'd be better if my daughter Rossi was a little more understanding. Mary told Belly and John all about Rossi and how she was worried for her. She wants to eat bread made of gold. What do I do with her?
Well, maybe if her dream comes true, that would be wonderful, wouldn't it?
Well, no matter. I guess in time she will grow to learn. Let's talk about something else now. Later on, Belly and John went away, smiling to each other secretly. That night, both mother and daughter got ready for bed. Mother, I hope my dream comes true, you know. Oh, Rossi. The next day, as Rossi and her mother were in the garden, a beautiful golden carriage came riding up to them. It was studded in gems and diamonds and looked beautiful. As it stopped, a handsome man came out of it and looked at Rossi. She was completely in love with this handsome man. Mom! My dream is coming true! What?
Hello. I've come here to ask for Rossi's hand in marriage.
But how do you know her name? And who are you?
I am Johnson, the angel of good fortune. Your daughter's name and beauty are known throughout the world.
Oh my, I would love to marry you! What? But you hardly know him. You can't go with him. Oh, how silly. He's rich and handsome. What more could I want? Johnson, I accept your proposal. And with that, she got into his carriage, and without even saying goodbye to her mother, rode off with the angel. As they were traveling, the carriage suddenly entered a magical portal. There, it traveled through a stormy sea. The carriage bumped, and Rossi got scared.
Don't worry, my dear. All of this will soon be over.
Just as he said this, the carriage went through another portal and reached the driveway of a huge and magnificent golden castle. Rossi was amazed at all the beauty she saw. I knew I deserved so much riches!
I knew you'd like it. Anything you want, you will find here. From the prettiest of dresses to the tastiest of foods. All of it in my palace.
Well, speaking of food, I'm really hungry after that ride. I'm starving! Can I have any of that tasty food?
Yes, of course. Here, meet Belissa. She will get you whatever you want.
Hi, Rossi. I've heard so much about you. Are you hungry? Come, I'll get you some food.
Oh, thank you! They went into the dining room, and there on the table, was the most astounding food Rossi had ever seen.
The food looks amazing. The golden bread, how lovely. This jam will look and taste lovely with the bread.
She took a slice with the ruby jam on it and took a huge bite.
This is hard. I can't eat this. Well, it's bread made of gold. But if can't eat it, should I get you silver bread instead? But I want normal bread. The bread which I can eat at home. Don't you have that? Nope. You have to eat gold.
Rossi looked at the food, but was heartbroken, for everything there was incredible. She soon started to cry.
Oh, let me go. I don't want this. But the food is really good. Here, I'll try some golden potatoes. They're really good.
And afterward you shall be married to me, and you'll have to eat all of this.
No, I don't want to marry you. I want to go home to my mother. Let me go home.
Belisa and Johnson looked at each other and winked.
Well, if that's really what you want, then I suppose I shall take you home.
Johnson took Rossi home. In the carriage, she started to think deeply about the choices she had made. When she reached home, she ran to hug her mother.
Mom, I'm back!
Rossi? Oh, I thought I'd never see you again.
Oh, Mom, I love you so much, and you were right.
She told everything to her mother about what had happened.
I'm so sorry for the way I acted, Mom.
Oh, dear, it's all right. You knew all your mistakes. Come, let's have food. From that day, Rossi changed her ways, and slowly, she started to become a lot nicer. The end.
Here lies a mesmerizing and glittering palace filled with rare artwork, crystal chandeliers, softly glowing lamps, marble halls, and the most exquisitely carved sculptures. It has all the comforts and luxuries to offer, and is a sight to behold. Sitting on a velvet throne is the Fairy Queen. Now, the most beautiful fairy in this kingdom, Chitralika, approaches the Fairy Queen. Her hair shines like gold, her big eyes are expressive, and her cheeks are rosy. She is the epitome of otherworldly beauty. Not only that, but she is also pure-hearted, truthful, kind, and charitable. One can easily understand why she is loved by everyone.
Queen Mother, did you call for me?
Yes, I did. Come here, Chitraleka. How is your health now?
I have completely recovered now and I am healthy. I can sing and dance again. I can also fly in the air again.
That's very good news. I was worried about you, but now I'm reassured.
Listening to this conversation is another fairy named Chitra, who is getting envious. She has been jealous of Chitraleka ever since childhood. The Fairy Queen tells Chitraleka,
Chitraleka, go and enjoy yourself.
Chitraleka is strolling in the gardens along with her other friends. A stunning peacock spreads his captivating feathers and dances in front of them. Chitraleka is ecstatic and moves along with it. Colorful butterflies hover around her and kiss her cheeks and head. Buds blossom into flowers around her. Nature is alive and blissful around her. Chitra is watching all this from a distance and going green with envy. Chitraleka approaches the Fairy Queen in her palace once again. This time, she has a request.
Queen Mother, if I have your permission, I would like to go down to Earth for a while. I would like to help the Earthlings in any way I can.
That is a noble thought. You have a charitable mind. My blessings are always with you. If you are ever in trouble, just think of me. I will be there to help you in need.
Queen Mother, I would also like to go to Earth.
What will you do over there?
I will help Chitralekha.
If that is the case, go along with her.
Chitralekha and Chitra bid farewell to the Fairy Queen and fly towards Earth. They land in a small village. Chitra looks at the tiny huts and raises her eyebrows in disdain.
Chitralekha, what is this rundown place that you've brought me to? It appears to be in ruins. Look at the people, so poor, sickly, and downtrodden.
There are kind and honest people here as well. The poor always have the purest hearts.
Chitralekha waved her star wand around and said,
May all their troubles get wiped away.
Beautiful clothes appeared on the bodies of the young, the old, and the children. They were shocked and looked at each other. One child spoke up and said,
This is a miracle! Look at everyone's lovely clothes!
Dear God, what is this miracle? Your mercy knows no bounds, my lord.
Chitralekha was smiling in satisfaction while Chitra was getting irritated. A poor man was carrying a big bundle of wood on top of his head. Chitralekha lightened his load with her magic. He seemed relieved and happy, and continued walking ahead. With the help of her magic wand, Chitralekha filled up the villagers' homes with food supplies. Then the two fairies flew towards the forest. When they were flying over the forest, they spotted a handsome young man entangled tightly by a python who was suffocating him to death.
Chitra, let's go help him.
With the magic of her star wand, Chitralekha managed to release the young man from the python's hold. He stood up and heaved a sigh of relief. He looked straight ahead and saw Chitralekha smiling at him. He was besotted by the young fairy's beauty. He folded his hands and thanked her.
Heavenly being, you have done me a huge favor by saving my life.
What is your name?
My name is Chitravir. What is your name?
My name is Chitralekha. I live in the Fairy Kingdom. Please tell us a little bit more about yourself.
I am the prince of this kingdom, but I have been wandering around like a vagabond. Some years ago, a demon wizard captured my parents and imprisoned them in a cave. He rules over my kingdom now.
After listening to the prince, Chitralekha was very disturbed. She told the prince,
Please don't worry, everything will be all right.
Chitralekha took her magic wand and built a small but well-equipped palace for the prince.
Dear Prince, please live comfortably in this palace till we figure out our next course of action.
The three of them started living in the palace. Chitra had started falling for the prince. Chitralekha also found him to be good-hearted and honest. When Chitra used to see them talking together, she would get upset. She could not control the envious thoughts in her head. She hated Chitralekha's morality and her holier-than-thou attitude. She was selfish and could not see beyond her own needs. In her mind, Chitra vowed to ruin Chitralekha for good. She knew she had to make the prince her own at any cost. The prince, on the other hand, was devoted to Chitralekha. One day, Chitra took her magic wand and burnt both of Chitralekha's wings. Chitralekha was shocked and heartbroken beyond belief.
Chitra, what have you done? What did I ever do for you to treat me like this?
The prince ran towards them and asked Chitra,
Why did you do that? It was a horrible thing to do.
Chitra did not like the way the prince spoke to her, but she did not want to harm him in any way.
Now how will we defeat the demon wizard?
Chitralekha immediately thought of the Fairy Queen. She contacted her in her mind. The Fairy Queen appeared in front of them. When she saw Chitraleka's condition, she was very upset. She glared at Chitra in anger.
You will be punished for this behavior.
Chitra bowed her head in shame. Chitraleka informed the Fairy Queen about the prince and the demon wizard. The Fairy Queen used her magic to grow a new pair of wings on Chitraleka. Chitraleka was happy now. The Fairy Queen, along with Chitraleka, Chitra, and the prince, set off to meet the demon wizard. The demon wizard saw the three fairies and started laughing loudly.
Ah, look who's come to visit me. Ready to be my new slaves?
After saying this, he unleashed his magic on the fairies. But the Fairy Queen and Chitraleka joined forces and fought it together, rendering it ineffective. Whenever his magic would fail, a cloud of smoke would appear in the wind. He began to scream, falter, lose his breath, and became weaker. The Fairy Queen took her magic wand and lifted him up in the air. He flapped his hands and feet. Chitraleka pointed her wand at him and swirled him round and round. He kept rotating in the air for a while and screaming at the same time. Finally, he collapsed and fell to the ground. Chitraleka conjured a cage around him and imprisoned him in it. The three of them ran towards the cave and released the king and queen along with the other prisoners who were mainly soldiers. The demon wizard had been pacing up and down in the cage. The prince and Chitraleka looked at each other lovingly and could not look away. Chitra continued feeling jealous. The king and queen, along with the fairy queen, blessed the young couple. Moral of the story: we should not be jealous of anyone or wish them ill. We should always perform good deeds.
The Magical Kitty. Once upon a time, there lived a queen who had a magical yet beautiful cat named Kisa, which she was very fond of. One day the queen said, "Oh, Pussy, you are happier than I am, for you have parents like us, but I have nobody of my own."
Don't cry. I will see what can be done.
Kisa was as good as her word. As soon as she returned from the forest to consult a fairy who lived there, the queen had a baby girl. The queen was delighted, and soon the baby began to take notice of the cat as she jumped about the room and would not go to sleep at all unless the cat lay beside her. One evening, when the nurse came to look for the cat to put her in the baby's cot, she was nowhere to be found. There was a hunt for the cat, but it was of no use. The cat had run away, and nobody could tell where she had gone. Years passed, and one day, when the princess was a young girl and playing ball in the garden, she happened to throw it farther than usual, and it fell into a bush. The princess ran after it, and she stopped in front of the long grass. Then she heard a voice.
Ingeborg, Ingeborg, have you forgotten me? I am Kisa, your sister. But I never had a sister. Don't you remember how I always slept in your cot beside you? Well, why did you go away then?
But before Kisa could answer, Ingeborg's attendants arrived breathless on the scene, and Kisa went back to the forest. The princess was very much vexed with her attendants and told everything to the queen. Yes, it is quite true what Kisa said. I should have liked to see her again. The next morning, it was very hot, and the princess declared that she must go into the forest where it was cool because of big shady trees. As usual, her attendants also came with her, and while sitting beside the stream, her attendants fell asleep. The princess saw this, and she walked on and on, expecting to see some fairies or little brown elves. But instead, she met a horrible giant.
Oh, I was searching for a servant and found you now. If you don't want to die, come, follow me.
The princess felt very afraid, but as there was no use in disobeying the giant, she walked quietly behind. They went a long way, and Ingeborg grew very tired and at length began to cry. Then, turning around, the giant said,
I don't like servants who make nasty noises. If you want to cry, I will give you something to cry about.
And drawing an axe from his belt, he cut her precious anklet from her feet, which was entirely made up of gold and garnished with precious stones, and put it in his pocket. Then he went away, leaving her alone. Poor Ingeborg sits on the grass. The sun was still high in the heavens when she heard the sound of wheels.
Somebody please help me! I'm coming!
And in another moment, a cart made its way through the trees, driven by Kisa, who used her tail as a whip. Kisa saw Ingeborg sitting there. She jumped down and took Ingeborg back to her little hut. When they finally got there, Ingeborg was exhausted and eagerly drank some milk, and then sank back on the cushions.
You will go to sleep now. I will come back in a little while.
Then, Kisa got into the cart, drove straight to the giant's cave. Leaving her cart behind some trees, Kisa crept gently up to the open door and listened to what the giant was mumbling about while he was eating supper.
Now that silly princess will learn to not cry without a reason.
And he was so busy calling Ingeborg all sorts of names for her bad behavior that he didn't notice that Kisa was emptying a whole bag of salt into his big bowl of soup, and in a big gulp, drank that soup and cried.
What is this? How did it become so salty? If I don't get some water, I'm gonna die.
And rushing out of the cave, he ran down towards the river. Then Kisa entered the hut and found Ingeborg's anklet, and putting it in her cart, drove back again. Ingeborg was thankful to her. Kisa came in, holding up the princess's precious anklet.
Oh, thank you, Kisa. This anklet is very dear to me, and you found it. Thank you very much. Tomorrow, I will deliver you to your home again.
And so she did. And when Kisa drove the cart up to the palace gate, and the king and queen saw their lost daughter sitting beside her, they asked Kisa what she wished for a reward.
We will talk about that later.
She made her best bow and turned back. The princess was very unhappy when Kisa left her. She would neither eat nor drink.
If this goes on, our daughter will die.
Is there anything we haven't tried yet?
Well, we haven't tried marriage. Let's try marrying her to someone, and maybe that will cheer her up.
What about just getting another cat?
No, marriage. Trust me.
And soon, the king invited all the princes from neighboring kingdoms and made the princess choose a husband from among them. At last, she fixed upon a young prince. The king and the queen were greatly pleased, and they gave orders that a splendid feast should be prepared. When the marriage was over, Kisa suddenly appeared.
I have come to claim my reward. Let me sleep for this night at the foot of the princess's bed. Is that all? It is enough.
And when the morning dawned, it was no cat that lay at the foot of the princess' bed, but another beautiful princess.
I was enchanted by a spiteful fairy. I could not free myself till I had done some kind deed.
Then they were all the more delighted, and Princess Kisa also married another prince and went away to govern one of her kingdoms. The end.